Hi, everyone. Alexa Beavers here. I'm one of the creators of the Whole Human Leadership Journal. And we are going to talk a little bit about three main things. First, how can you set goals using the journal tools? How do you design a habit on the habit tracker so you can build habits that stick? And then how do you journal about what you're experiencing on your whole human leadership journey? You probably have one of these handy. Go ahead and grab it because you may be able to jot some notes in here as we talk. And we'll just take it from here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to show you my online journal so that you can kind of follow along as I talk you through it. Stand by. All right, so you should be seeing my journal here. And what you're going to notice about it is we're just going to skip through the journal and only focus on those three areas that we just talked about. So let's go ahead and we'll get started. So in your journal, you're actually going to be focused on the page 22 and 23. Just going to ground you in what you should be expecting on your whole human leadership journey. So first of all, what you're going to be looking at here is we're going to start after you've kind of done a little bit of initial reflection, a little bit of reflection on, what's your leadership journey been up until now. You also should have taken some time to look deeply at your values, and that informed your draft leadership declaration. The leadership declaration is really something that says, here's who I am in the world, why I exist, and how it impacts others. So, having done all of that, you're ready to plan your goals, where you set your 4-H goals and your intentions. As a reminder, 4-H is just a short way we call our whole human leadership because there's 4 dimensions of human intelligence: head, hands, heart, and health. So we're hoping that one of your goals helps you to build up one of those areas that might not be serving you right now or you may not have access to. We find that it's best to have agility across all 4 human intelligence centers: head, hands, heart, and health. So you want to build some range, build some agility, and the best way to do that is to build goals and build habits. As you build those goals and habits, you're going to observe the impact they're having in the world and on you. You're going to adjust as needed. And as you go, you're going to adapt and grow. And by the end of your 12-week period, you'll just do a reflection. Reminder, you can go to our 4-H assessment and see how your access and agility across all 4-H intelligence centers is changing over time. You can find that link in the comments. So let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to start with how do we create goals? In your journal, you're going to be going to your whole human leadership journey, weeks 1 through 13, or any other breakpoint across the different 12-week periods, 13-week periods. At the beginning of each of these periods, you have a place to write down kind of where you're starting at and maybe do a little brainstorming. And that's what this page is showing. And then we encourage you to look at page 26. Now, the page right in front of that, we put in just for this video. It isn't something that you'll see there, but these are the tips we're going to talk through. First, start where you are. You're perfect where you are. And it's a great place to start, as they say in The Sound of Music, one of my favorite movies. So let's start where you are, meaning that get an understanding of, your 4-H intelligence access. Get a feeling for how that's serving you in your leadership journey, and be thinking about where you might want to tweak some things. Then we encourage you to set a 4-H goal. You have a space for your top 3 goals in the upper left-hand corner there. We encourage you to make them SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So you want to make sure that it is very specific what you're going to do. So for instance, if I've noticed through my assessment of where I am today, I may be very hands heavy, which means that I am used to doing it all myself. And I've gotten a lot of value through that through the years. But one of my goals is actually now to start delegating to my team. So I'm not just going to say start delegating. I'm going to start by creating a goal that helps me identify what is it that I can delegate. So identify tasks and decisions that I can delegate to my team members by the end of the week next week. And I'd put a date in there. I think that's pretty achievable. It's highly relevant because as a leader, I can't do it all myself. I'd be the rate limiting step in so many things, and I need to be a multiplier of impact. So it's important to me to delegate. And then by when? You already heard that I am going to be doing this by the end of next week. How will I measure if I did it well? Well, I want to come up with maybe 4 or 5 things that I can delegate to my team. So there's one goal. I might have a next goal underneath that to actually do the delegating, but we're just going to start here. From here, I'm going to build my action plan. So maybe for that particular goal, one action is to set aside time so I can review my calendar over the last few months to try to get some ideas of what I can delegate. Step 2 is highlight the things that I'm going to delegate. Is it a task? Is it a decision? Step 3 might be identify who I might delegate those things to. And what are they going to need in order to be set up for success? And step 4 is to look over that list, see if it's doable, and prepare for my conversations with my team members. So I'm going to make that the end of my goal. By the end of next week, I should have done all of those things. So that's my action plan for my number one goal. That is to identify 4 or 5 things I can delegate to team members. Now, this is something that's hard for me, so I want to reward myself along the way. So maybe I will be, after I take a time to look at my calendar, maybe I'll reward myself with a, walk outside. Maybe after I do step 2 and I identify the different things that I can delegate, maybe then I'll reward myself with I don't know, something that really is appealing to me. Maybe it's time to myself. Maybe it's a mani-pedi, or maybe it is planning a fun time with my husband out for a date night or something like that. So you get the gist. So you want to reward yourself along the way. Now we did talk about we didn't talk about this to-do list. We do want to organize your to-do list. And these are things I like to use it as what could get in the way of me being successful with this goal, and how am I going to set myself up for success? So I may talk to my manager about my goal. So I'd probably talk to my manager about this particular goal. I may also, block time so that I can pay attention to each of these steps over the next week or so. And maybe the other thing that might get in my way is, if, for instance, uh, if I feel insecure about giving something up. So maybe I'll spend some time talking to my coach about this. So that's kind of how you set a goal. I welcome you to give it a go. You can adjust as needed and then go from there. And that really is about the whole 12 to 13 week period. So you can have multiple goals over time that will be over that time period. If you're looking for something to do in terms of goals and you want to work on your kind of hand agility, maybe I have to dial it back. For instance, I am going to be dialing back using my hands by delegating effectively. You can see some tips here. So that can give you some ideas if you need them for your goal setting. Let's take a look at building a habit. So 4-H leadership, or whole human leadership, has to do not only with having range and agility, but it's really a practice to tap into our whole human leadership on a daily basis. So we want you to build a habit. What you're seeing in front of you on the left-hand side is not in your journal, but it is something we brought forward just for this recording to help you plan how to build a habit. You'll be working on page 27 if you're at the very start of your journey. This is the first habit building page. And we'll want to have you set your intention, identify why it matters to you, and really commit to it. Your commitment is one of the things that's going to carry you through. So don't half-heartedly do this. So where you want to write your intention is what you'd like to grow or develop. And then truly write down why this matters to you. What's the difference will it make in your life or the life of your team that you're working with? After you've committed, you want to build potentially a routine. So habits come through doing over time. And in the middle of the page on the left-hand side, you're seeing kind of the habit loop. Habits are reinforced along the way, whether they're good habits or bad habits. And you're designing your habit to be a good one. So we're going to use this habit loop. So I want you to think about what's going to cue you or remind you to do it. A visual cue often helps, a timer set on your alarm, various things that are cues to say, oh, it's time for me to, I don't know, for example, maybe if I'm working on giving myself a break so I don't have to multitask so much and making space in my day, maybe I'll set a timer every hour to take a 5-minute break. And I would write that down here. And then go ahead and track your accountability. So as you do as your cue, as your timer to reward you, take your break. Every time you take your break, reward yourself. Reward yourself by tracking it. It always feels good to say, check, I did it. But you also want to reward yourself maybe in some other ways. Maybe if you have a little streak going, you can reward yourself at the end of the week for taking those 5-minute breaks, by taking a longer break. I don't know. But find something that's really meaningful to you because your reward needs to really be really beneficial to you. So you start to build those neural pathways that say, this is a good thing for me. And then continue to repeat that. Now, form your habit for at least 30 days. We think that's going to make it stick. Be realistic. Don't do 10 habits at once. Just do one at a time. And then you're going to be a little uncomfortable. You'll probably have that little voice in your head that says, this is not good. This is not me. Tell it, hey, I hear you, and I'm going to try this out. It's just an experiment for 30 days and then see how it lands. And give yourself grace. Look, we're all human. We might screw up sometimes. And if you miss a few times, cut yourself some slack. Life happens, but get back on track as quickly as you can. That's your habit tracker. I encourage you to design a habit, only do one at a time, and do it for at least 30 days. And then it will be just kind of part of who you are and how you walk through the world. Pretty nifty. Now let's go to our last part, which is journaling. Okay. Some of you out there might be great journalers. Some of you, maybe not so much. So we do want you to write about your journey. It's powerful for self-reflection. And there's a quote out there that says, adults don't learn by doing, they learn by doing and then reflecting on the doing. That's why journaling is so important. So you can jot anything you want about your leadership journey in your journal. And if you're working on a specific dimension of 4-H leadership, we do have some journal prompts in the back that you can refer to. There's one for each of the 4-H dimensions. This one is hands. So if I'm feeling a little bit like, not inspired to write, you can look here and find a journal prompt to get you going. We ask you to look at it, write it down in the blank at the top, and then, right away. Some folks that I know also like to, verbally say their journal entry into their phones. It's so handy. And I encourage you to do that. You can print it out and paste it into your journal. It's great to have it all in one place so you can see your journey over time and really have those discoveries that come with reflection. As you're journaling, we also have weekly pulse checks, and we want you to look at yourself as a 4-H leader from the inside. So look at your mental clarity, your emotional well-being, your productivity, and also your overall connection. So that's looking inside. And then see how it's serving you outside. How well are you leading with your head, your hands, your heart? And then think about what great things happened this week. We want to celebrate our successes and acknowledge that. And also, what are you looking forward to doing next week? Maybe something didn't go so great, so you're going to give it another go next week. Look how we turn those learning opportunities into good things moving forward. So we want you to do those pulse checks as you go through. Part of it is journaling, and the other part is by jotting down your pulse checks. How are you doing every week? Reminding you of your journal prompts that are back there. And by the end of a quarter of a year or so, we do ask you to look back at how you did against those goals and, think about what you learned, think about how it informs your next steps, and also maybe do another 4-H intelligence scan and see how things have shifted for you now that you've been practicing. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. That's our 4-H short video to help you to get in the groove with your 4-H whole human leadership journal. Really excited to see how it works for you. Don't hesitate to feel free to comment here. And if you would like more information, don't hesitate to reach out to us at info@theexcelagroup.com. You can also find us at www.theexcelagroup.com. Take care.